the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace, which is, of course, the first film of the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga came out in 2007, and it combined the two previous Lego Star Wars games, each of which had covered 3 of the Star Wars films. We are here on a Tatooine landing pad area with a cantina, and here in the landing area we can go look at our mini-kit collection. However, we of course have none so far. We are playing as Qui-Gon Jinn and have Obi-Wan Kenobi as our other unlocked character. Of course, over the course of a Lego game, you unlock many more characters, some of which you obtain by completing missions, and others you must purchase by spending studs at the store. You can also create your own custom characters. So, here is the bonus room area. We have nothing to do in here at the moment, so let's go ahead and enter episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The developer of Lego Star Wars is Traveler's Tales, who has developed all of the Lego games. Let's read this opening crawl. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Chapter 1, Negotiations. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic with a blockade of deadly battleships. The Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo. The Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched the Jedi Knights Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi to settle the conflict. So, the Lego games, of course, translate the films into much more bite-sized chunks. They compress them significantly and integrate humor, silliness into the scenes that they are replicating. So here we learn that the Trade Federation is maybe not interested in peaceful negotiations. And now we have commenced our first mission of Lego Star Wars. some battle droids. Combat in the LEGO games is quite simplistic, especially in these earlier ones. I'll do a little bit of exploration in this first mission, but if we're going to get through all of the Phantom Menace today, I won't be able to take too much time sniffing around every nook and cranny. Besides, I have often been of the opinion when I'm playing these games that because you have to replay the missions in free play mode in order to find all of the secrets, I don't need to bother being super careful in my exploration the first time around. But it is nice to do, a bit of a pass as you're playing through, because you can earn a lot of studs in these missions even before you're playing in free play mode. So we have a locked door here, which will require a protocol droid to open. And of course we're a couple of Jedi, so we can't do that at the moment. We are beset with more droids. One thing that has always kind of annoyed me about the LEGO games, they might have resolved this in more recent installments, but it's the fact that your AI companions do absolutely nothing to help you in combat. I don't need them to be, John Wick special operatives who are just going to do all the combat for me. But it can be a little annoying when there's a massive horde of enemies and you're cleaving your way through them, and you've got like 4 dudes with lightsabers and blasters, and they're all just standing in a clump, being useless. It's not really a big deal, especially, when you play these games multiplayer, you have somebody else to help you out. And, there's no real consequences to dying a lot, besides losing studs, which you can generally recover most of those after a death. But it is kind of funny, isn't it? It makes perfect sense, but you just cannot lose in LEGO games. You just constantly respawn and get to continue trying to solve whatever issue you're facing. But they are games that were made for children, so that makes sense. They're not, they're no FromSoft games, I guess, let's put it that way. Not designed to test your abilities to the highest mechanical degree possible. a lot of the appeal of these games now, to me, is purely nostalgia-based. Certainly I wouldn't really be drawn to them at my current age if I hadn't played them before. But they do have more charm and appeal than than a lot of true children's games, right? If you're playing like Bluey Goes to School for Xbox Series X or whatever, that's not going to have any appeal for an adult. But I feel like a game like this, if you're a dad and your child wants to play through Lego Star Wars, you can still have a good time with them and, enjoy yourself. Not be in agony as you're playing, just to be nice to your child and spend time with them. I think, you would actually have fun as an adult playing these games with your kid. So there's a little bit of a difference there. But they definitely are kids' games. And the lack of complexity or consequences or anything does speak to that. I am so sorry. There is a lawnmower outside my house, so I hope that does not get any closer than it currently is. We have a little cutscene here at the end of our first mission. And there's that kind of understated Lego humor. The humor gets more and more slapstick, I think, and kind of over the top as the games progress. Which I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing, but there is a difference over time of how the Lego games do their humor. We have some mini-kits to start building our first mini-kit vehicle. We get a gold brick for completing the level, and another for obtaining a true Jedi. And we will start a new save. Apparently I have some cloud-saved data from 2013, which is crazy. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Chapter 2, Invasion of Naboo. The Trade Federation has launched a full-scale attack on the peaceful world of Naboo. Hiding aboard the landing craft, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi have secretly hitched a ride with the invasion force. Now they must make contact with local forces before it is too late. I remember playing this game quite a bit as a kid. That cloud-saved data is from, I don't remember when that's from. It's definitely not the data that I actually played the game on the first time, because it was only at 6% completion. So here we are on Naboo. But I remember playing this game with my cousin who lived across the country, and he was visiting with his parents. He was a bit younger than me, we all shared this stuff anyways. And the joysticks, the thumbsticks, had kind of a thick rubber padding on them. And my cousin, we were playing this game, and I think because he didn't have video games, you know, he was kind of obsessed with them. He's Jar Jar Binks. A very controversial character. I think because my cousin didn't have video games at his house, he was like really into them. And when he got to play them, he was kind of intense about it. And I don't know, it was like a dog with red meat or something. He was like obsessing over it a little bit and getting really fixated on it. And we were playing together, and you know, we would be fighting enemies, and he would start like quivering, and you know, his face would clench and his hands would clench, and he would dig his fingers into the thumbstick pads, those rubber pads, and I only noticed this afterwards, but he had been digging his fingers into the pads so heavily that he actually like ripped chunks out of the rubber. It was like these, you know, his thumbnail had just been digging into the pads and like tearing them apart. We were not happy, you know, my brothers and I, because it kind of messed up that controller. So, that got me thinking, because there was another kid at my school. This, you know, as we got a little bit older, at some point this story happened, but he didn't have video games at his house, and he was obsessed with them. You know, this is a different guy than my cousin. This is somebody from school, but he didn't have video games, but you know, he would go over to his friends' houses, and I was kind of friends with him, but not super close. He would go over to his friends' houses, you know, pretty much just to play video games. He didn't want to do any other activity with them. And you know, it kind of bug some of his closer friends, because they'd like, hey, you want to go outside, you want to go in the woods, you want to blah blah blah. He'd be like, let's just play Call of Duty. And then when he got a little bit older, he secretly bought an Xbox, and you know, because he didn't have games, not because his parents were too poor or something, but just because they wouldn't allow them in the house. And same with my cousin. And he went and secretly bought an Xbox and would keep it and all of the cables hidden in his closet. And then when his parents left, he would pull it all out, hook it all up into the TV, and then play. And then as soon as he heard that front door open, he would rip all the cables out immediately and throw it all back into his closet as quick as he could. And honestly, those moments were kind of like informative for me. Or they informed my opinion on, like, how you should handle stuff like video games with your kids. Which is to say, habits that might be bad if you do them too much. It feels like candy. Like, are you gonna ban your kids from having candy? Never have any candy in the house. Or are you gonna, ban video games, never have video games in the house? Because you don't want your kids getting addicted or whatever. And I'll continue on this train of thought after we see that we've unlocked Jar Jar Binks. We certainly did not get true Jedi on that level. We've hit 73,000 studs. We're building a mini-kit vehicle again. Got another gold brick. And we will continue the story. Okay, episode 1 of the Phantom Menace. Chapter 3, Escape from Naboo. The Gungan ruler, Boss Nass, has refused to help the people of Naboo. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan could not have left this underwater city for the royal palace indeed. As Trade Federation battle droid seized control of the Naboo capital city, Queen Amidala and Captain Panaka, loyal protector, are powerless to repel the invasion. So as this level starts up, I will finish my tangent. The conclusion that I came to after seeing those things in my life with my cousin and that dude from school, is that it is better to, raise your kids with access to things like that so that you can help teach them a healthy way to engage with it, rather than ban that stuff entirely, or, poor Obi-Wan, try to keep your kids away from that stuff completely, because then they're still going to encounter those things in the real world. They're not going to not know that video games exist. And they're going to be, more likely to develop an unhealthy fixation on them and not have the skills, the tools necessary to engage with those things in a healthy way. Now that's just my own perspective on it, and I know that there are certainly plenty of cases where parents just ban video games and it didn't create some sort of obsession with the people that grew up in that environment. But it did, I think, create that sense in me that you should try to teach healthy habits rather than take away your kids' exposure to that stuff entirely. But I don't know, I definitely played too many, spent too much time playing video games as a kid. In retrospect, from a certain perspective, they weren't really helping me develop, but also I still feel like I grew up as a well-rounded person, and maybe if I had didn't have video games, I would have learned to play some instrument or something, or been writing, and then now I'd be a novelist, who knows. But yeah, it feels to me like you need to teach kids how to have healthy relationships with things at a young age, rather than trying to protect them from ever even coming into contact with those things. But I won't soapbox about that anymore. I know that people can have different opinions there, and that would be totally reasonable. So I'm not saying that I know what's best in all situations or anything. That's just how my life experience has kind of informed my opinion on that matter. So we are running around Theed right now with Queen Amidala and Captain Panaka. It's amazing how ingrained these levels are in my brain. I might not remember every single hallway or, puzzle or whatever, but I really, I find that I'm remembering pretty much every single environment that I walk into. Despite having not played this game for many years, apparently I played it in 2013 again. So, at the very least, I played it 12 years ago, but even then, I didn't play very much of it because I only had 6.7% completion or whatever it was. So just from my childhood playing this game, those memories really sink in deep, don't they? So this elevator that we just activated, we could take the Jedi back and work on some of those, little things you could do with the Force over there, like at the beginning of the level. But as I said, we're not really going for completionism here, or trying to get true Jedi. We're not too concerned with studs or mini kits or anything. We're just kind of playing through the story, enjoying the cutscenes, enjoying the environments, and just the experience of going through this stuff again. I am also thinking of Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds right now. I'm remembering in the Trade Federation campaign of that RTS, there was some Theed stuff, a lot of Theed stuff, invading Theed. Maybe not a lot, maybe it was just one mission. I feel like there was something about one mission was approaching Theed, and then there was a mission where you were actually taking over Theed. I guess Theed is probably like Naboo's capital, if I had to guess. The prequels often get, a lot of criticism, and I think for very good reasons. The prequels have many, many issues. The writing for first of all, is really the big thing that comes to mind. But there are certain things about Star Wars in the prequels that are just phenomenally done, that make me, even though I think the prequels are in many ways bad movies, I still can't think of them as bad movies because of how well the things that are done right are done. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Chapter 4, Moses Papadres. Queen Amidala and her Jedi protectors have fled Naboo and invoked Coruscant. They plan to inform the Galactic Senate of the Trade Federation invasion. However, the royal starships Hyperdrive is damaged in the escape. They have been forced to land on the remote planet of Tatooine for repairs. So, what I mean by the things that are done well is just the environmental design, right? The worlds, the costumes. I was thinking of that because I was looking at Queen Amidala's character model when she's in her, queen outfit. And it is such a different alien sort of fashion. Her makeup is very alien, and, there are conversations to be had about the real world cultures that Star Wars pulls from occasionally. Usually in ways that may be a little, could be done better, let's say. But a lot of Star Wars also just has this phenomenal strangeness to it. It really does feel like a different world. And the prequels, for all of their problems, still maintain that feeling for me of a fleshed out alien world that you're only seeing a small sliver of. And they feel real in that way, the world of Star Wars never feels fake or shallow or uninspired. And so even though I think, The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones are kind of really, really bad movies in a lot of ways, I still love watching them. And every once in a while the dialogue makes my skin crawl, but I think they're just awesome. It's an awesome world to enter. Also, doing this pod race is reminding me of, I actually did revisit this game more recently than 2013. I was in college at one of my friend's places, and at one of my friend's place. You would say that one of my friend's place feels weird, but one of my friend's places sounds like he has multiple places, but he only had one. Anyway, let's say the place of one of my friends, and we were playing some video games, and he pulled this game out, and we played it for just, 45 minutes or something. We never played any more of it, but it was fun to just check it out again and revisit the memories. But I'm remembering that because when we played this mission, I was we kept losing. We kept losing. And he eventually like figured out that I wasn't pushing forward on the joystick. I just thought that the forward momentum, the forward acceleration rather, was innate to the driving. That it was, you didn't have to like accelerate. And so, you know, our characters were kind of rubber banded together. So he couldn't win because I kept on just lagging behind, and I would slingshot him back towards me. We were laughing our asses off at that one. Anakin's pod, a new vehicle unlocked. True Jedi, we did get a true Jedi on that mission. Continue story. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Chapter 5, Retake the Palace. On Coruscant, Queen Amidala has found the Galactic Senate corrupted by trade, Federation influence, and mired in bureaucracy. Frustrated, she has returned home to Naboo, together with Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Captain Panaka, R2-D2, and the young pod racer from Tatooine, Anakin Skywalker. Queen Amidala now plans to infiltrate the royal palace and capture the evil trade federation of Viceroy. So we are going back to Theed, back to Theed. We are meeting with the Gungans and Boss Nass. Padme earns Boss Nass's allyship. They go out on the plains. An army of 3 AATs. They're moving in. I always did enjoy this battle in the movie. I can't help but love the Gungans. And I do love the droids too. Jar Jar Binks never really bothered me tonally. I know that he really pisses some people off. But I just, like, he's just comedy for children. Like, that's what he's in there for. And once you accept that he's just meant to make little kids laugh, it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't bother me that he exists. And he does eventually help shepherd in fascism, which is a funny political statement from Lucas that, you know, moronic clowns like Jar Jar Binks can be useful in the rise of authoritarianism. Of course, the prequel trilogy is, you know, George Lucas's response to the War on Terror and what he perceived as the decline of American liberty. And him thinking about how a republic could fall to autocracy. So this one, oops, I'm always slipping off into the abyss. So we just have to make sure all of our characters can get across. So we build a platform for some of them. We raise a grappling hook for the gun characters. And here come a bunch of droids. Send in the droidicas. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. A little mini-kit behind the false wall there. Not sure which path is the path forward here. I don't know. I'm just wondering if I should be negative. I will. I've already opened my big mouth, so I might as well keep talking. I have kind of completely detached from Star Wars. I was a huge Star Wars fan since childhood, and I kept my enthusiasm even through a lot of the Disney era, even as I thought the new movie trilogy was garbage. There were occasionally good things, you know. I loved Rogue One, for instance. But in the television era, I have kind of come to the opinion that it is like impossible for Star Wars to make anything good anymore. When season 2 of Andor came out, I was like, this is the end of Star Wars for me. I put up with watching a lot of trash on Disney Plus, and then Andor came out and it was amazing. And you know, I just couldn't stand any of the Book of Boba Fett and the later seasons of The Mandalorian, and I basically was like, okay, once Andor season 2 comes out, that is my farewell to Star Wars. That will be my last romantic rendezvous with the franchise, and then I am done. And I you know, because for a while I was like, I have to watch all the new shows, I have to watch all the new movies, and I'll probably still watch the movies because those come out so rarely. And they're, you know, it's a small time investment, you just have to watch one movie. But I'm definitely not watching the shows. I didn't watch The Acolyte, for instance. Not for the reasons that some people might not have watched it. I don't care about there's a lot of dudes making YouTube videos about Star Wars. And you know, and I don't agree with them on a lot of their takes. I think Star Wars stuff is bad now because the writing is bad and the acting is bad. Not for any weird political reasons or whatever. People get so obsessed these days with, you know, what messages they think their art is, you know, being shoved into art. It's like, stuff like this has always had messages in it. The only difference was that it used to be good art, and now it's bad. Anyway, sorry, this is not a relaxing topic, I think, probably. But, yeah, I've just kind of said goodbye to Star Wars. And, you know, if anything jumps out at me as being, like, super interesting for whatever reason, if a show actually looks good, I might give it a chance, but I am no longer on my beat of, I have to watch every new Star Wars show. And it's kind of freeing, I don't think you should be a servant to media like that. If I love From Software games, and I would certainly give them some leeway if they made a bad game, which I don't think they have, but if they made a bad game, I don't think I would toss them out immediately. I would say, oh, well, everybody makes flubs up from time to time. But A, you shouldn't defend it just because you like the franchise or the developers or whatever. And B, you should accept when something has really gone wrong, right? If FromSoft makes one bad game, I'll say, oh, well, probably a fluke. If they make two bad games, I'll say, uh-oh, it's not looking good. And, three or more, and I might have to say, well, maybe it's time to leave FromSoft behind. Now, thankfully, that hasn't happened yet, but it would be a dark day if it did. Anyway, yeah, the Star Wars decline has been unfortunate. And are there any, what's the status of Star Wars video games? There's been so many canceled projects. Are there any Star Wars video games actually coming out these days? I know they, obviously had, the Fallen Order games, which I didn't really get into. I played the first one, with a buddy, like hot swapping the controller every few minutes, and it was fine, but it wasn't good enough that when the second one came out, I was really interested in playing it, so I skipped that one. Though I've, heard good things, but it just didn't click with me for whatever reason. I did download Star Wars The Force Unleashed recently, the first one, because I was thinking about making a video on it, and I still might. I loved that game. Loved it. Star Killer. And, oh man, who's the voice actor? Who's the voice actor for Star Killer? What is his name? I'm embarrassing myself. I know him. I know his name. Anyway, he also voices Maul in the animated shows. Anyway, my apologies. I should definitely know his name, and it's just not coming to me right now. But yeah, the Force Unleashed was a great game. And I still might do a video on that sometime. But the Star Wars gaming scene is certainly not thriving as it once was. LucasArts used to you would see that logo pop up very often, and I don't think it even exists anymore. Speaking outside of my knowledge, but I'm pretty sure LucasArts is like dead or defunct or something. I guess they did do Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga recently. You have to build this tower the right way, going from big to small, not small to big. Going around freeing these engineers or pilots or whatever these guys are. And then, of course, this is the big hangar where the door opens, and there's Darth Maul. Darth Maul and Duel of the Fates starts playing. I mean, that's the thing, right? As much as I think Phantom Menace is like such a bad movie in a lot of ways, it also has the Duel of the Fates fight scene, right? I mean, come on. You can't really hold hatred for something in your heart when it has the Duel of the Fates. I'm not sure what using the Force on these starfighters does. I know it releases those studs, but it's kind of strange that you can still use the Force on them again. Built another staircase here. That one seems to be useless. Alright. Let's keep wandering around looking for more dudes. Yeah, it's so funny just standing here. Like, come on guys, I have a Jedi and 2 people with blasters standing right next to me, and nobody can give me a hand while I'm using the Force to, move these things. No one can handle one singular battle droid for me. We used to be a proper country. Now nobody can even handle a battle droid. Do a little lifting, fall off, come back down. And we have one more guy left. More guy left to find. It's funny how Tatooine was just this backwater planet. Supposed to be like nothing, just this meaningless place. And then, over time, Star Wars media has just used it so much. That's one of the issues with Star Wars that comes up occasionally, in my opinion, which is they make the galaxy feel small sometimes. They make stuff keep going back to the same handful of planets. And it starts to, bringing back old characters over and over again. And it starts to make the world feel less real, right? When I was complimenting Star Wars before, it was because of how real the galaxy felt and how intricate and strange and expansive it felt. But when, people keep randomly showing up to Tatooine, which is supposed to be a nothing burger of a planet, the galaxy starts to feel less and less real. You start to feel the hand of the writers more, right? You start to feel more and more the writers going, oh, you know what, we should go back Inquisitors showed up to Tatooine to hunt down this fleeing Jedi, and then that Jedi bumps into Obi-Wan Kenobi while he's in exile. And in my opinion, no, that would not be cool. But it happens anyway. Continue story. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Chapter 6, Darth Maul. The Trade Federation army has been neutralized by Anakin Skywalker, but the battle continues in the Royal Palace. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi have one more enemy to face. 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 Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, one more enemy to face. One more enemy to face. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi have one more enemy to face, and his name is John Cena. Also, I turned off the music so that I could have sounds on for this video. But strangely, turning off the music does not actually turn off all of the music. And because all of this music is, John Williams' Disney-owned score, it's difficult to actually include the game sounds. I've had people request, the game sounds, so you could have the sounds of the studs and the building and stuff, and I do think it would be nice if I could do that, but unfortunately with the music as omnipresent as it is, it just makes it kind of impossible for me to include any sound at all. Sam Witwer, that's his name. Sam Witwer, the voice of Darth Maul in the animated shows, and the voice of Starkiller. And he's also a true Star Wars fan. I've seen interviews of him, and clips of him talking about his love of Star Wars and correcting Dave Filoni on stuff and yada yada. So he's a true fan, not just an actor who does Star Wars stuff, which is pretty amazing, right? Can you imagine you're a Star Wars fan your whole life, and then you get to be in Star Wars stuff one day? I know there's lots of actors like that these days, with all of the Disney Star Wars projects that they make. There's lots of new actors being brought into Star Wars, and it's just pretty cool, in my opinion, to think about all of these people who grew up as children loving Star Wars, playing with Star Wars toys, and then as adults they get to actually be in Star Wars and be a part of Star Wars forever. I just think that's a wonderful, kind of beautiful thing, I hope that it just brought them so much joy. I mean, wouldn't that be cool if you could even just be a little cameo actor in a Star Wars project? I mean, you could put me in an alien suit, even make me like a Rodian or something, and then I'd be telling my kids one day, hey, look, that's your old essay to explain why these droids are still operating. You know, some video essayist, it's like, I investigated the dark underbelly of Lego Star Wars lore, and what I learned changed me forever. There's kind of a crazy amount of droids that it spawns here. The little radio droid is calling in so many of them. So now we have some more droidicas. Our little roly-poly friends. Definitely a very cool droid type. So what I'm talking about, you know, just the design of the Star Wars world. The droidicas, like, come on, they just look so cool. I love this part in the movie when they're at the energy walls here, and the wall comes up, and Qui-Gon is meditating, and Darth Maul is like walking back and pacing, you know, ready to fight. It's just a great moment of characterization for the two of them. Shows you all you need to know about their characters. Look at all those hearts Darth Maul has. Look at all those hearts. Remember in the Solo movie, Solo, a Star Wars story, how at the end they teased Darth Vader, Darth Maul. Was I saying Darth Vader before? If I was, that was embarrassing. I mean Darth Maul. I know who this is. At the end of that movie, they tease Darth Maul being alive still. Which, of course, if, you know, you've watched the shows, was not a surprise. We all knew Darth Maul was alive. But to regular people who just watch Star Wars movies and have never watched the animated shows, they were probably like, what the fuck? What the fuck? How is Darth Maul alive? Didn't he get chopped in half in that really shitty Star Wars movie? And then their 16-year-old kid is like, Mom, you've never watched the Clone Wars. Okay, you wouldn't even get it. You literally don't even know the lore. He survived by the power of his hatred. You literally don't know anything about the Force, Mom. Have you even heard about the father, okay? Or the sister, or the brother? You don't know anything about it. You don't know anything about it, Mom. You've never even heard of Mortis. Anyway, yeah, I think weren't they like, that was gonna be the start of a Darth Maul TV show or something. I think around that point they started to realize that maybe their Star Wars empire was not built on as solid of a foundation as they thought. Also, I didn't like that look that Queen Amidala gives to Anakin there. I'm not saying anything, all I'm saying is that knowing where their relationship ends up is kind of creepy. I feel like she was giving him a little bit of a, hey there, stud. It's like, chill out, girl. At least hit him with the, you know, say some stuff that was just making me laugh too much. Anyway, we're just gonna spend our studs here on some characters. Just blow it all on these characters. Padme, Watto, we got Watto here, everybody. And I suppose that about does it for our little excursion into Star Wars today. I was thinking it would be fun to go through all of the movies, like do one movie an episode like this, you know? So we go through all of the Phantom Menace today, and then just do that with all 6 of the movies. Because, yeah, I just really like this game and have a lot of fond feelings for it, and I think it would be fun to just work our way through. I also will return to LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars, because I know that many of you really like that one, and would enjoy seeing a little more gameplay there. But anyway, my friends, thank you for joining me.